English, Australia.
English, US. Bryan Adams. Net. Oh, when I look back now. That summer seemed to last forever. And if I had the choice. Yeah, I'd always want to be there. Those were the best days of my life. Bryan Adams. Next. Button. It's 3 years later, and you are now 16 years old. 3 more years dreaming of rock stardom. But are you any closer to realizing your dream? Your brother Casper should be arriving home from college any minute. You have a few more weeks of school left. You've been counting down the days until Casper's return, but you're not ready to see him. Not yet. Instead of waiting for him at home, you sit in a darkened classroom. School ended over 2 hours ago, and the building is nearly empty, but you sit alone. Well, instead of waiting for him at home, you sit in a darkened classroom. School ended over 2 hours ago, and the building is nearly empty, but you sit alone. Well, not completely alone. You also have your guitar. Technically, it's not your guitar. You are borrowing from Mr. Hart, the super cool high school gym teacher. But with the amount of time you spend with the guitar, it's really beginning to feel like your own. How much time do you spend practicing? 4 hours a day and twice as much on weekends. Besides school, it's all I do. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 4. Plenty. It's my only extracurricular activity. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 4. Enough. It comes naturally to me, so I don't need to practice too much. Radio button. Unticked. 3 of 4. To be honest, I'm mostly playing it to get girls, so what's the point of spending all my time alone in a classroom like some nerd? Radio button. Plenty. Plenty. 4 hours a day and twice as much on weekends. Besides school, it's all I do. 4 hours. How much time do you spend practicing? 4 hours. Plenty. It's my only. Enough. It comes. Plenty. It's my only extracurricular activity. Radio button. How much time do you? 4 hours a day and twice as much on weekends. Besides school, it's all I do. Ticked. Next. Friends? No time. Schoolwork? Please. Girls? Those can wait. You are a single-minded rock machine. And you know that all the work you do now is sure to pay off someday, right? After clocking your long hours in the rock mines, you head home. It's already beginning to get dark outside when you pull up to your house on your bicycle. Waiting for you in the driveway is a familiar smiling face, Casper. Casper, welcome home. Hey, little bro, I wouldn't go inside, if I were you. Mom just got a call from your music teacher that you haven't been attending your band practices. She's super pissed. Oh, this is bad news for your health and rocking. Casper sees the concern on your face. What's going on? Did you grow tired of your harp or something? Yes, that's it. Nothing else. Radio button. Ticked. Yes, but you would, too, if you had a sick guitar to play. Radio button. Unticked. Not at all. Playing the harp every now and then really helps me relax after shredding the guitar. Radio button. Next. Button. Not at all. Not at all. Play. Home. Rockstar. Show stats. Show stat. Rockstar. Back button. Stat. Achievements. Button. Name. Blind Life Gaming. Instrument. Guitar. Hometown. Rockville. Money. 1. Health. 59%. Style. 61%. Musicianship. 57%. Stage presence. 50%. Bad influence. 36%. Bad. Role model. 64%. Casper relationship. Bandmates. Management. No manager. Contract. No contract. Contract. No contract. Rockstar. Back. Rockstar. Neck. Not at all. Playing the harp every. Tick. Next. Whoa. No way. Dude. Check this out. Casper pops open his trunk to reveal a shiny new bass. I've been playing for a few months now and getting pretty good, too. Hey, we should totally play together. As usual, you're already miles ahead of him. Before long, you're sneaking him into the high school through your secret entrance, the bathroom window. You let him into the empty science classroom and take out your guitar. I practice here all the time, you say. Once school lets out for the summer, we will have the place to ourselves. We can play here every day, as much as we want. Casper cannot believe it. What do you want to play him first to show off your guitar skills? Something funky, with a wicked groove. Radio button. Something funky, with a wicked groove. Something jazzy, with a creative interlude. Something rocking, with a snarling solo. Something loud, with a driving beat. Radio button. Next. Button. Something rocking, with a snarling solo. Something loud, with a driving beat. Next. You chose the perfect song to show off your guitar dominance. Casper is blown away. Unable to wait any longer, he joins in on the fun. It takes a few hours to work out the kinks, but eventually the two of you are grooving together like you've been at it for years. Grinning from ear to ear, he shouts out, "Little bro, this is gonna be the best summer ever." Grinning. From. It turns out he was right. For the next 2 months, you and your brother play music every day, becoming better and better. Soon you are a well-oiled musical duo. What else do you do all summer? Go to lots of concerts. Radio button. Tick. Hang out with friends. Radio button. Untick. Hit on girls and party. Radio button. Nothing. Eat, sleep, and practice. Not always in that order. Radio button. Next. Nothing. Eat, sleep, and practice. Not. Hang out. Go to lots of. Go. Hang out with friends. Tick. Next. Sure, your friends are great and everything, but you can already feel yourself growing apart from them as you become more and more obsessed with your guitar. After a couple months, you've mostly given up on hanging out with them. As the summer draws to a close, you find yourself growing bored of banging out the same covers over and over. You decide that it's finally time for you and Casper to write your first song together. Which part of the song do you want to write first, the music or the lyrics? Music. Lyrics. Tick. I let Casper. Tick. Music. Which part of the song do you want to write first, the music? Lyrics. I let Casper decide. It's good to make him feel as though he's important. Radio button. Tick. Tick. Next. Button. Good question, bro. I mean, music is sort of the heart of every song, isn't it? But then again, lyrics are pretty much the heart of the song, too. Can something have two hearts? Man, this is making my head hurt. You know what? Let's flip a coin. What style of lyrics should you write? Complex and poetic, with lots of big words and imagery about forests. Radio button. Ticked. Raw and simple, with lots of angst about unrequited love. Radio button. Unticked. Strange and artsy, with lots of offbeat musings about clowns. Radio button. Unticked. Fun and poppy, with lots of rhymes about girls and partying. Radio button. Unticked. Dark and full of pain, with lots of yelling about death and violence. Radio button. Next. Raw and simple, with complex and poetic, with lots of big words and imagery about forests. Dark and full of pain. Next. Now that you've got your lyrics written out, it's time to come up with the perfect music to set it to. What kind of song are you writing? A headbanger. Something wild and thrashing, with screaming guitar and explosive bass. Radio button. Ticked. A tear-jerking ballad. Something beautiful and poignant, with rich vocals and delicate guitar. Radio button. Unticked. A rump shaker. Something bouncy and groovy, with funkified guitar and hypnotic bass. Radio button. Unticked. Ticked. A folk ditty. Something loose and jammy, with a gorgeous guitar solo and bulbous bass. Radio button. Next. Button. Alright, your song is almost done. It's now time to add your personal flair. Of course, the chorus is the true heart of the song. A great chorus will be instantly memorable to everyone who hears it. Your fans will sing it for the rest of their lives, humming it in the shower and annoying those around them to no end. Do you have what it takes to pen the perfect 2-4-line chorus that will infect listeners' minds like a parasitic rock virus? I've always heard this idea that great songs write themselves. Let's go with that. Radio button. Tick. Give me a pad and paper. I want to craft this chorus myself. Radio button. Unticked. Next. I've always heard this. Tick. Next. Amazingly, your strategy of not working seems to work fantastically. You close your eyes and a fully formed chorus appears in your head. Despite what anyone may have told you, the heart of a great rock song is the title. Obviously, the title is what fans are going to hold signs up for you to play, call up radio stations to request, and, maybe, someday in the distant future, purchase for their magical portable music boxes. What's your title? Sepulchral Queen. Radio button. Ticked. Rock and Roll Part 27. Radio button. Untitled. Radio button. Unticked. Hey hey, nah nah. Radio button. Hot Black Tar. Radio button. Kindly step aside and allow me to title my own song. Radio button. Unticked. Next. Hey, despite Sepulchral Queen. Ticked. Next. Button. Congratulations, you've written your first song. It's a poetic funk groove that's poised to take the world by storm. It takes a couple of days of practice, only because Casper struggles mightily to keep up with your musical brilliance. But soon you are rocking Sepulchral Queen like you've played it for years. After one particularly explosive performance, Casper turns to you, dripping with rock sweat, and says, "Little man, I don't think it's fair for us to keep brilliance like this to ourselves any longer. I think it's time we unleash it on the world. What do you say we sneak a few friends into the school one night and throw a small party? We'll play a few of our best covers and then blow the doors down with Sepulchral Queen." That's an inspired idea, but only a few friends, okay? If we get caught, I lose my precious guitar and have to go back to playing the stupid harp. Radio button. Ticked. Are you nuts? You want us to sneak a few friends into the school for a small party? We just wrote the greatest song in the history of rock. This calls for a real party. Let's put out the word and invite everyone we know. Radio button. Unticked. Ticked. Real party. Real party. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Let's put out the word and invite everyone we. Sorry, no. I would never do anything to risk my precious guitar. The world will hear Sepulchral Queen soon enough, but for now we practice alone. Radio button. Next. But, righteous. Let's do it. The next few days are spent in anticipation. How should you prepare for the big night? Keep practicing my guitar to be in top shape. Radio button. Ticked. Spend some time singing in front of a mirror so I don't look like a goober in front of Casper's friends. Radio button. Find my musician buddies and convince them to come check out my performance. Radio button. Hang around with Casper, kicking it next. Hang around with Casper, kicking it old school. Radio button. Keep practicing my guitar. Tick. Next. You've been practicing so much lately. These extra few sessions don't really add much. You may want to think about starting to develop other areas of your future rockstar persona. You've done everything you can to make this the most kick-ass party imaginable. You're hoping that all the calls to friends and flyers you hung around everywhere will be enough to fill the classroom. As you arrive early on the big night and begin setting up, your fears are put to rest by the first group of friends pulling up to the school. They are followed soon after by more groups, filling up the parking lot and hoisting one another through the bathroom window. Before you know it, the classroom is filled to capacity, with even more people trying to push their way in. You wonder how you'll ever be able to carve out enough space to play. Luckily, some of Casper's friends have figured out how to break into the gym basement, containing a pool which has been drained for the summer. It's the perfect makeshift venue. While everyone rushes into the pool, you and Casper haul over your equipment and quickly set up again. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for arrives. Time to rock. What should your first song be? Something fast and funky to get everyone moving. Radio. Ticked. Something slow and poignant to build anticipation. Radio button. Something loud and rocking to blow everyone away. Radio button. Untick. Next. Button. You kick off with One More Saturday Night by the Grateful Dead. See, it's funny, because it's actually a Friday night. The crowd begins shaking and dancing to the groove. The next few songs continue in the same fashion. Eventually, you and Casper nod to each other, and you both understand it's time. As the song ends, you step up to the microphone. Everyone, thanks so much for coming tonight. We've got a new number to play for you now. Hope you enjoy it. The crowd quiets down, awaiting your song with anticipation. As the opening notes ring out, you and Casper lay into your original funk groove with energy and confidence. Time to sing the first verse. You hope you can remember the words. Next. Button. Oh Alina, the rings around your weathered mane. Comma, bespeaks an ancient, cryptic pain, of crimson fields and children slain, who, reaching for your fruit so blanch, were torn upon your supine branch. So far, so good. Now it's time for the most important part, the chorus. Europa, Europa, to the Galilee, my sepulchral queen has set me free. Sweet, almost time to bring this baby home. As you do, you look out and take in the audience's reaction. The audience is grooving right along with you. Casper shoots you a grin, and you shoot him one back. They both say the same thing. If this is what being a rock star is like, you already know you want more. As you transition into your next cover, you look out and realize that your little gig has transformed into an all-out rager of a party. There are inebriated teenagers causing a ruckus all around the pool and spilling out into the rest of the school. Smoke clouds abound, and bottles are passed around with impunity. The din of your music and the partying is so loud that you don't even hear the sirens until the police car pulls into the parking lot. Uh-oh, Before you know it, the cops are pushing into the pool room, prompting hordes of partygoers to scramble away as fast as they can. One of the officers shouts at you through his megaphone. Teenagers, cease your rock noise at once. You and Casper exchange furtive glances. It's clear, from your vantage point, that it would take the cops a couple minutes to push through the crowd. But no matter how long it takes, your backs are against the wall. There's no turning and running. Step away from your noise machines and submit peacefully, the officer continues, or we will be forced to arrest you. How far do you want to push this? Enough's enough. I've already cemented my legacy with this epic rager. No need to spend the night in jail, especially if I ever hope to speak to my mom again. Radio. Ticked. Let's take this thing to 11. What's one night in the pokey compared to a lifetime of rock stardom? Radio button. Unticked. Next. Button. Let's take this thing to 11. Ticked. Next. Rock and roll forever, you shout out. As if reading your mind, Casper begins wailing away at his bass even louder than before. The few remaining partygoers cheer you on, clearly blown away by your bravado. The cheers grow even louder as the cops finally pull the plug on your performance and escort you out to the parking lot. In a few days, the legend of your epic episode will have spread all around the town. For now, though, you will have to spend the night in jail. After a long night in the cheers grow even louder as the cops finally pull the plug on your performance and escort you out to the parking lot. In a few days, the legend of your epic episode will have spread all around the town. For now, though, you will have to spend the night in jail. After a long night in jail, your father finally arrives at the station to pick you up. He looks the most disappointed you've ever seen him. Your mother couldn't bear to see you here, he says, laying on the guilt extra thick. When you arrive home, you find your mother crying in the kitchen. She can't even muster the energy to yell at you. She just shakes her head at you and keeps crying. In the days following, your mother finally recovers enough to hand down your punishment. Here are the highlights. No more guitar, no more friends, 8 p.m. curfew. Oh, and they're taking away your record player. Casper doesn't get off easy either. His car is confiscated. He storms out, yelling, cursing, and vowing never to return. You'll be sorry, he yells. When Blind Life and I are rich rock stars, you bet your ass you'll be sorry. Your mother just closes the door and lets him walk off into the night on his own. Only days later do you find out that Casper has safely hitched a ride back to school. Your parents are relieved, although it takes a few weeks for your mom and Casper to speak to each other again. You used to think your family was fairly normal, but now you're not so sure. There's a deep rift that's grown between you and your parents. Will this rift inevitably keep growing as you continue to pursue your passion, or is it possible to maintain a healthy family life along with a rock career? You have no idea. At this point, you can only be sure of one thing. These next 2 years before graduation are gonna be rough. Next chapter. Button. Marconi plays the Mamba. Listen to the radio. Don't you remember? We built this city on rock and roll Jefferson Starship. Next. Button. It is now 3 years later, and you are 19 years old. The year is 1985. A disease called disco fever has come and gone, leaving a wake of devastation in its path. Seminal 1960 psychedelic rock band Jefferson Airplane changed its name to Jefferson Starship and began cranking out pop songs. Deep in the urban underground, a new form of dance music has arisen which some are calling hip-hop. Has rock and roll as you know it begun its slide into obscurity? Or is it simply evolving into something new and equally exciting? And in either case, what role will you get to play in all of it? These are the thoughts that flow through your head as you sit in the back of the... Wait, where are you these days? I'm taking classes at the local college by day, playing gigs by night. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 3. I'm straight partying. Brossif. That's right, I say things like brossif now. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 3. I'm bussing tables before I hit the stage. Radio button. I'm straight partying. Ticked. I'm taking classes at the local college by day, playing gigs by night. Ticked. I'm taking... Next. These are the thoughts that flow through your head as you sit in the back of the classroom. You want to concentrate, especially with all the money your parents have spent on tuition in an effort to save you from your music and alcohol addiction, but all you can think about is what will happen when you hit the stage that night. These are the thoughts that flow through your head as you sit in the back of the classroom. You want to concentrate, especially with all the money your parents have spent on tuition in an effort to save you from your music and alcohol addiction, but all you can think about is what will happen when you hit the stage that night. Finally, after classes end, you head over to Casabas, the local bar, to meet your brother. Even though you've done dozens of these shows already, you still get goosebumps when you look down from the stage at the handful of bar patrons. In just a few short years, you and Casper have grown from baby rockers, playing in the back of your garage, to young adult rockers, gigging out for sparse crowds of inattentive drunks. Over the past few years, you two have spent more time together than you ever imagined. Between practice, songwriting, performing, partying, it's been non-stop sibling bonding. What kind of relationship do you and Casper have? Super close. We genuinely enjoy each other's company. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 3. Professional. I, as the band leader, set the tone, and I expect him to follow. Radio button. Raging. A family that parties together, rocks together. Radio button. Unticked. Professional. Super close. Super close. We genuinely enjoy each other's company. Next. It's rare to find 2 siblings, let alone bandmates, that get along so well. You feel very fortunate to have Casper and hope to keep playing with him forever. Time for the show. You immediately launch into Sepulchral Queen, which has been refined into a tight and energetic crowd pleaser. As per usual, you begin tearing up your guitar while Casper still needs some time to shake the rust off. It's not that Casper is bad at his instrument, it's just that you're way better at yours. But what's wrong with that? You're the band leader. After all, you should be the best. Still, sometimes you wish you had a bandmate who worked harder and could push you just a bit more. How do you respond to Casper's playing? Give him an encouraging smile. Radio button. Shoot him a disparaging look. Radio button. Don't respond. Just keep doing my thing. Next. Button. Give him an encourage. Tick. Next. Button. You shoot Casper an encouraging smile. Somewhat confused, he takes this as a signal to launch into an extended bass solo. It doesn't sound great, but it seems to boost his ego. After a few covers, you move into another original number, one that you and Casper have been crafting for some time. This one is a hard-rocking party anthem called Imbibe Your Vibe. Radio button. Ticked. Folksy acoustic number called Savannah Seasonal. Radio button. Unticked. Poppy dancer called Too Hard to Dance. Radio. Ticked. Abstract funk excursion called Birds and Bees. Radio but next. But the crowd, made up of local students, drunken townies, and a handful of actual fans, digs your newest tune. Some of them even dance along. Looking out into the back of the smoky room, you notice a particularly well-dressed man watching your show. He's surrounded by a cadre of attractive young women, none of whom you recognize. This is odd, because there are very few attractive young women in the town who you wouldn't recognize. The man seems somewhat bored, yawning and frequently checking his watch. In the middle of your climactic solo, he stubs out his cigarette and yells to the bartender to close his tab. How rude. What are you going to do about it? Keep playing. I'm a professional, and it's not my job to tell the bar patrons how to act. Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 3. Call him out for being a prick. If I can't yell at people in the audience, there's no point in being on stage with a microphone in the first place. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 3. Tear him a new one with the power of rock. Radio button. Tear him a new one with the power of rock. Next. But this zen-like ability to filter out distractions bodes well for your future mental health. You finish the set with one of your standard, crowd-pleasing covers, then call it a night. After the show, you and Casper pack up in the green room, also known as the storage closet. Outside, you find Mickey, the club owner, chatting with the old man from the back of the bar. Knowing Mickey's spotty track record of paying performers, you idle around until he's finished to collect your check. Finally, when the old man leaves, Mickey walks over. He grins widely, his eyes bouncing back and forth even more than normal. Good show, kiddos. Must have been a treat to see old Joey Greenback sitting in for your set, eh? Apparently blank expressions were not what Mickey was looking for. He smacks his own forehead in annoyance. Joey Greenback's Orvieto? Don't tell me you don't know Joey Greenback's Orvieto. Okay, Mickey, Casper replies. Don't worry, we won't tell you. Mickey laughs at your and Casper's naivete. I tell you, you kids ain't the sharpest bulbs in the tool shed. Joey Greenbacks is only one of the biggest record company executives in the world today. Any young musician worth his microphone cord would jump in front of traffic to talk to Greenbacks, and you just let him walk out of here without even shaking his hand. You and Casper look at each other in shock. What should you do? Run after him and hope to catch him in the parking lot. Radio button. Ask Mickey if he has his information and call him. Radio button. Nothing. Ask Mickey if he has his information and call him. Ticked. Run after him. Next. Actually, now that you mention it, he did give me this business card for you too. He said you should only call him after you've got a full band together, with a demo album and a full month of touring under your belt. It's sure good that you asked. Huh? He hands you Joey's business card. You and Casper stare reverently at it for a moment. Finally, you stick it in the most secure place you can think of, your guitar case. See you soon, little guy, Casper whispers to it as you safely tuck it away. Next. Button. Heeding Joey's words, you decide it's time to start getting a real band together. Casper isn't too thrilled with the idea. You get the sense that he would be comfortable playing tiny bars for the rest of his life. But you're reaching for something much bigger. You plaster the campus halls and local bars with flyers, then hold your auditions. If nothing else, the auditions do serve to stroke your ego a bit. There are some terrible musicians out there. Luckily, there are also some pretty great ones. Although Casper was too busy to help prepare for the auditions, he now asks if he can join in on the decision-making process. What do you say? Of course, this is a partnership, right? Radio button. Ticked. 1 of 3. Fine, but remember that I'm the band leader, and what I say goes. Sorry, this is my band. You can be in it, but I call the shots. Radio button. Fine, of course, this is a partnership, right? Radio, if nothing else, the auditions do serve to stroke your ego a bit. There are some terrible musicians out there. Luckily, there are also some pretty great ones. Although Casper was too busy to help prepare for the auditions, he now asks if he can join in on the decision-making process. Of course, this... Next. It sure is, bro, Casper replies. Now let's crack open a brewski and find ourselves some new bandskis. As you select your band, there are a few important guidelines to keep in mind. 1. The more band members you have, the more expensive touring/recording becomes. Certain types of music benefits from large bands, while others benefit from a smaller, tighter sound. Choose wisely. 2. While you can have 2 guitarists, you cannot have 2 drummers, 2 bassists, or 2 keyboardists. It would just look silly. 3. You can have as many band members as you like, but you need at least 3. Anything less would negatively impact your rockability. You and Casper already have the guitar and bass covered. Every band needs a percussion section, so your first choice is already made for you. Sophie Sludge MacArthur is the best drummer in town by far. She comes from the Keith Moon School of Drumming as Destructive Force. Wildly talented and wildly unpredictable, Sludge is the ultimate X factor. You're lucky to have her. Who else do you want to add? Remember, click on each. Who else do you want to add? Remember, you're making history here. Oh no, Saldero, the Rose. Wendell, click on each musician to learn all about each one of them. Wendell Lee, keyboardist. Radio button. Tick. Oh no, Saldero, guitarist. Wendell Lee. Tick. Next. Button. Wendell doesn't look like much. He's shy, diminutive, and cheeky. But brother can straight up slay boards. Trained from preschool as a classical pianist, Wendell rebelled against his parents and dove into freaky synth rock with abandon. Their loss is rock's reward. Yes. Radio button. Ticked. No. Next. No. Radio button. Ticked. Next. But click on each musician to Wendell Lee, keyboardist. Ono Saldero, guitarist. Tick. Next. Button. Ono is traditionally a lead guitarist, but he's willing to accept the rhythm role to join your band. Luckily for you, Ono is the best axe shredder around. Everyone else is a distant. DOS. Add him to your band, and you're significantly upping your potential. Sure, you have some concerns about Ono's willingness to take orders from you, but you drool to think what your guitars will sound like paired together. Yes. Radio button. Ticked. No. Next. Button. Click on each musician to learn all about each one of them. Wendell Lee, keyboard. The Rosenblatt Brothers, horns. Radio button. Tick. The Rosenblatt Brothers, horns. Radio button. Next. The Rosenblatts are 3 horny brothers from Manhattan who never heard a silence they couldn't shatter, a racket they couldn't produce, or a neighbor they couldn't enrage. After spending their adolescences in a constant state of being shushed, these boys are ready to unleash their massive sound on the world. Players of a sax, a trumpet, and a trombone, the brothers add an entirely new dimension to your sound, and an entirely new set of headaches to your life. Still, who doesn't love horns? Yes. No. Ticked. Next. Button. Click on each musician to learn all about each one of them. Wendell Lee, key. The Rosenblatt. Rory Kicks, vocalist. Radio. Ticked. Next. Button. Rory's got vocal cords made out of pure velvet and pipes that could inflate a bouncy castle. As lead singer or vocal accompaniment, she could majorly boost the vocal acuity of your band. But before you bring her into the band, you better decide if you really want another singer stepping into the spotlight. Yes. Radio button. Tick. No. Next. Click on each musician. Wendell. The Rosen. I'm finished. Radio button. Untick. Next. I'm finished. The Rosen. Wendell Lee. Keyboardist. Radio. The Rosenblatt brother. I'm finished. Tick. Next. Button. Are you sure? This is your last chance to add more members to your new band. Yes. Radio button. Ticked. No. Next. After you've made all your choices, Casper suddenly decides he has some strong objections. Dude, I don't know about this Uno character. He seems like a bit of a showboater to me, don't you think? Do you really want him in there, stealing the spotlight from me? I mean, us? You're right. He's gone. Radio button. Sorry, Casper, you've been overruled. Radio button. Untick. That's it. That's it. You're out of the band. You're right. Dude, Dude, you're right. Tick. Next. It's time to come up with a name for your new band. The type of name you choose will reflect the kind of creative relationship you want to have with your bandmates. What type of name do you want? Just my name, since it's really all about me, and everyone else is in the background. Radio button. Ticked. My name first, then the band name. That way it's still all about my name first, then the band name. That way it's still all about me, but also a little about them. Radio button. My name first, then the band name. My and Casper's last name, since it's our band. Radio button. Forget my name, there's no egotism here. Just a standard, awesome band name. Radio button. Ticked. Next. Button. Your options for a band name are as limitless as your imagination. So, what's it going to be? Text field. Text. Next. Text field. Your text field. Insert G. Inserted Rocky Rovers. G. Rovers. Next. Button. Excellent. You are no Rocky Rovers. It should look great on t-shirts, posters, tattoos, etc. Oh, yeah, and albums. Unfortunately, after some further thought, it seems Casper's not a fan of the name. After sulking around for a while, he finally comes clean. Look, I'm just not feeling Rocky Rovers as our name, okay? I'm sorry. Listen, I've come up with my own list of potential names. Check them out. I bet one of them will be perfect for us. Do you want to look at this list? Fine, show it to me. Radio button. Ticked. No, thanks. I like our name. Radio you're out of alert. Look close. Next. You're out of the band, Casper. Next. Take a look at the list of names and select one if you want to choose it. The Totally Awesome, Super Sexy, Funk Groove Project. Radio button. Ticked. Casper and the Friendly Ghosts. Radio button. The Gaming Experience. Radio button. Rajametronic 3000. Radio button. Rocky Rovers. Radio button. Next. Rajametronic 3000. Tick. Next. Casper is over the moon. Whoa, thanks bro. This band is going to be amazing. It seems the next chapter in your life is finally beginning. It's time to say goodbye to Blind Life, the mild-mannered guitar player, and say hello to Blind Life, the leader of Rajametronic 3000. Next chapter. Well, we were just another band out of Boston. On the road to try to make ends meet. Playing all the bars, sleeping in our cars. And we practiced right on out in the street. No, we didn't have much money. We barely made enough to survive. But when we got up on stage and got ready to play, people came alive. Boston. Next. Button. It's been 6 months since you formed Rajametronic 3000. 6 months of practicing nearly every day, of honing old songs and writing new ones. And if the hard work and close confines led to some bumpy times between band members, you could also feel a bond forming. This is why you are now so incredibly anxious to get your musical career started. I mean, in just a few more months, you will be 20 years old. That's middle-aged for rock stars. The window for your success is rapidly closing, and you're nowhere closer to getting your big break yet. Luckily, you think you have an idea where you could find it. A prestigious annual battle of the bands begins next week in St. Louis. Spots are typically impossible to come by, but luckily you have an in. Sludge's grandfather happens to play golf with one of the organizers and managed to secure you a spot. Of course, once you're in, there will be no special treatment. You will have to earn the victory yourself, hence all the practicing. Thankfully, your bandmates are all on the same page. It feels amazing to be surrounded by a group as insanely dedicated as you to making it as rock stars. Your practices are full of energy and concentration, which makes your playing sound amazing. The other issue with the contest is money. For the winners, the prize is enormous, $10,000. You drool to think how your band could spend that money, but there is a $250 entrance fee to get into the contest. You can pay the fee yourself, but it represents nearly all the money you have in the world. Do you spend your own money, or do you try to come up with it some other way? I'm the band leader, I will pay it myself. With great power comes great responsibility. Radio button. I'll ask my band members to chip in. Since they stand to reap the benefit, I'll ask Casper to split the cost with me. Radio button. Tick. I don't want to spend all my money, but I also hate to ask the band. Time to bite the bullet and call the rents. Radio button. Unticked. Next. Sometimes people can be very surprising, even your brother. You want me to chip in, little bro, he says. I'll do you one better, let me pay the whole entrance fee. I have some extra cash lying around from when I used to lend my body for scientific research, and you have been awesome about this whole band thing. I'm glad to help out. Wow, I guess there's a reason you keep that guy around. You graciously accept his offer. You only have one more week until the big day. It's time to start crafting your set. You get to play 3 songs, plus 1 encore if you make it to the last round. Obviously Sepulchral Queen and 2 Hard to Dance will make the cut, since those are your best and most polished numbers. Since coming together, your band has really honed in on a loose, highly improvisational style, reminiscent of the Grateful Dead, the Allman Brothers Band, and little featuring. Do you want to commit and choose 2 more jammy songs to fill out your set, or should you broaden your sound and try something else? Yes, let's go for a consistent sound across the board. Radio button. Ticked. No, let's broaden our style and try something new. Radio button. Unticked. 2 of 2. Next. No, let's broaden our style and try something new. Radio button. Next. Yes, let's go for a consistent sound across the board. Yes, ticked. No. Next. Excellent. While it may feel artistically limiting, your consistent sound should really help you attract a larger audience at the battle. During the few hours this week when you're not practicing, how do you spend your time? Party with the band. Radio button. Party with my bro. Radio button. Do promotional work to drum up an audience. Radio button. Unticked. 3 of ticked. Hours when we're not practicing? Sorry, that does not compute. Radio button. Hours when we're not practicing? Sorry, that does not compute. Radio button. Unticked. 4 of 4. Next. Next. Button. Hours when we're not do promotional work to drum up an audience. Radio button. Ticked. Ticked. Hours when we're not practicing? Sorry, that does not compute. Radio button. Unticked. 4 of 4. Next. Button. Hours when we're not practicing? Sorry, that does not compute. Next. After practice, you head out to plaster the town and campus with flyers for the show. Pretty soon it becomes clear that all of your fans want to come support you. They're even going to rent a bus to bring all of them to the city. The extra support should be a huge boost to the band's confidence. Of course, along with fans comes partying. While you try to take it easy to prepare for the show, Casper seems to have other ideas. He takes being the life of the party very seriously, and you find him blacked out nearly every night. You're hoping this won't become a problem, at least not until after the battle. When the big day finally arrives, you and your band hop into a rental van, into which you somehow manage to cram all of your gear. Casper decided it would be a good idea to paint Ragimatronic 3000 rules on the side of the van, which certainly attracts some attention driving down the highway. But you make it to the venue without incident. You arrive at the Good Time Forum and Playhouse as the crew is setting up for the show. It's the largest venue you've ever been in. Legends such as The Doors, Elvis Presley, and the Jackson 5 all passed through here on the way to performing at much larger venues. Still, you are stoked and maybe even a little nervous. What is your pre-show plan? Set up immediately and begin rehearsing. Radio button. Ticked. 1. Take a look around the venue, drink in the views, and then get to rehearsing. Radio button. Break out some refreshments to help take the edge off. Radio button. Party with my fans that came all the way out here to see us. Radio button. Unticked. Next. But party. Break up. Take a set up immediately and begin rehearsing. Radio button. Ticked. Next. You tell everyone to get their gear set up early for sound check, so you can try and squeeze out some extra minutes of rehearsal before showtime. Unfortunately, there's a problem. As you begin setting up, you notice that Casper has gone missing. It seems he overindulged a bit on the ride to the venue and has now passed out on the floor of the dressing room. What's the plan here, band leader? Let him recover while we sound check, then work on getting him ready for the show. Radio button. Tick. All that matters is that he can play tonight. We can't go on without him. Radio button. Untick. This is his problem. The show must go on, with or without him. Radio button. Untick. Next. All that matters is that he can play tonight. We can't go on without him. Radio button. Ticked. This is next. Fortunately, Casper recovers in time to join you for the end of sound check, and, despite some close calls, manages not to puke on anyone. You slowly coax him back to shape before the show, but you remain nervous to see how he will perform. The lights go down, and the first band takes the stage. You spend your time scoping out the competition and listening to the different band sets. Some of them are fair to mediocre, but others are impressive. There are even a few bands that sound like nothing you've ever heard before. Ironside, an indie band from England, play an entirely instrumental brand of music called post-rock. Horny Toads, a 9-member outfit from New York City, feature a horn-based Jamaican ting sound called ska, and The Scientists, a long-haired foursome from Seattle, exhibit an angsty, distortion heavy form of rock they call grunge. Finally, your time comes. You wait in the wings for the eclectic German polka punk outfit later host to finish its set, then you finally step out onto the stage. The cheers that welcome you onto the stage are deafening. Your fans are going wild, hooting and shouting before you've even played your first note. It's good to have fans. You gaze out, past the bright lights, into the sea of people. It's the largest audience you've ever had. There may be close to 500 people here. A radio microphone points up at the stage, and a cluster of still and video cameras follow you from the middle of the floor. Yet, somehow, you feel an intense sense of confidence. All these people are here to watch you, to cheer for you, to worship you. You were born for this moment. Before you even know it, you are launching into Sepulchral Queen. Casper looks over at you, smiling from his base. You smile back. This is the first song the two of you ever wrote together. Despite all of the ups and downs in your relationship, it feels amazing beyond stage together. Years later, performing for so many, after the crowd before you even know it, you are launching into Sepulchral Queen. Casper looks over at you, smiling from his base. You smile back. This is the first song the two of you ever wrote together. Despite all of the ups and downs in your relationship, it feels amazing beyond stage together. Years later, performing for so many people, the energy between you powers Sepulchral Queen to new heights. After the crowd reacts strongly to your first offering, you smoothly transition into Too Hard to Dance. Another classic cut from the days of just you and Casper. This one keeps the energy going. About halfway through the song, you notice Casper beginning to falter a bit. He is having trouble keeping up with the tempo, and when you look over you see that his face is quickly turning a color that reminds you of your mother's pea soup. What do? We're going to power through this. He must make it through the set. Radio button. Ticked. Tone the energy down a bit to help him out. Radio button. Unticked. Tick. After the song, bring him some water. Radio button. Unticked. After the song, bring him some beer. Radio. Next. After the song, bring him some water. Ticked. Next. It's a close call, as Casper barely makes it to the end of the song. But thanks to your mastery of the guitar, you let off a blistering solo that not only covers for Casper but also raises the song to unforeseen heights. The audience, sensing the improvised nature of your creative explosion, responds with great enthusiasm. Before the next song, you bring a bottle of water and a cold towel over to Casper. After a few deep breaths, his face returns to its normal color, and he flashes you the universal symbol for rock on. You breathe a sigh of relief and cue up the next song. Heading into your last two songs, you can feel the audience settling into your groove. All the fans that came along for the trip are definitely helping the energy. Even though they've never heard Greta Don't You Leave Me before today, they catch on quickly and are belting out the chorus by the end. From where you're standing, it makes all the difference in the world. As you charge into your fourth and final song, Jammin' Jamboree, you focus yourself on letting out every last drop of energy you have stored within you. It's clear your jammy musical style doesn't resonate equally with everyone. As you settle into the fourth guitar solo in the 12th minute of Jammin' Jamboree, many audience members are growing noticeably bored. Your virtuoso playing skills, however, do not go unappreciated by all. A small but potent contingency has gathered in the front, hanging on your every note. It's their energy that gives you the confidence to dig ever deeper into your musical exploration. Time to take your bow and say goodnight. Thank you, Saint Louis. Our name is Rajimatronic 3000. See you next time. The crowd responds with a raucous standing ovation. I guess they liked you. After a few more bands, it is finally time to announce the results. The event's MC steps to the microphone, while you and the other bands wait around backstage, pretending not to care while listening intently, of course. In third place, from New York City, the Horny Toads. The 9-piece ska group rushes on stage, shouting oi, oi, oi in triumph. The MC hands them a check for $1,000. It's chump change compared to the real prize, but it's sure better than nothing. In third place, and in second place, from Dusseldorf, Germany, Lederhose. The polka fusion outfit erupts in joy, their accordions and glockenspiels ringing notes of victory. They take their $3,000 check and pose for the camera. The climactic moment has finally arrived. You're either winning it all or going home with nothing. The MC takes a long pause, milking the crowd for all they're worth. And, finally, in first place, from Rockville Rajimatronic 3000. What happens next is like a walking daydream. You know you stepped on stage, you know you posed for pictures, and you're sure you were handed a check for $10,000. There was cheering and shouting and lots of flashbulbs. But, somehow, it was like you weren't there at all, like it was happening to someone else. Is this how success feels? Next. Button. Next. As you pack up backstage, a woman knocks on your door. She introduces herself as Fran, worldwide musical talent manager, and comes bearing a bottle of wine as a gift. She speaks to you with the wizened rasp of inveterate late night siesta as she lights a cigarette. All right, here's the deal. You guys are a sensation. Did you see the way that audience reacted to you? These Midwestern hicks are just the tip of the iceberg. Your jammy sound will be the music of a new generation. As long as you sign with me, that is. Do you want to sign with Fran? Yes. Radio button. Ticked. No. Radio button. Unticked. Let me speak to my band first. Radio button. Unticked. I want some more information before I decide. Radio button. Unticked. Next. Button.